Hey everybody, Dr. Greco here. Welcome to Ministry in a Minute. So we've been talking about Galatians 5 mostly this week, but free will and how our free will and our desire to follow God gets lived out in a way that we're not sinning, basically. And I think today's conversation from Galatians 5, verse 13 through 18 is really crucial. Because I think sometimes we make for ourselves, we talked yesterday about kind of our relationship with the church, and we talked the day before about whether we're being right or whether we're being righteous. But I think today's conversation is beautiful because Paul says this, "So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh." Now, that sounds like a very spiritual verse. Okay, walking by the Spirit. Oh my gosh, if God is speaking to me, what does that look like? Well, folks, I'll tell you, I don't think it's a spiritual verse at all. I think it's an insanely practical verse. I don't think there's any magical, mystical spirituality about it. Walk by the Spirit, capital S, and you'll not gratify the desires of the flesh. Okay? I think that Paul means this. Okay? The Holy Spirit, capital S, in verse 16, lives inside of you. And when you wake up in the morning, what do you ask yourself, or what's your perspective on the day? Because I believe there are two options. One option is, okay, what are the things I can't do today? The other option is, okay, God, what are we going to do today? You see, I would argue that most of us fix our eyes on the law. We try to follow the rules. And when we do that, and there's nothing wrong with following the rules, they're there for a reason. They're there to warn us that we might be wandering away from walking in the Spirit. But what we're called to do is simply go where God is going and do what God is doing. And if we say, God, what are we going to do today? And He says, let's go over here, and you go over there. Guess what? You're not going to sin because your time is being filled being with Him. I call this proactive faith. And again, it's not that there's anything wrong with the rules, but they can't be what we focus on. They can't be what lead us because they're not going anywhere. But God is. Be proactive. Walk in the Spirit. Live by the Spirit, Paul says. Okay? Walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the sinful nature. We'll see you tomorrow for another Ministry in a Minute.